All right. So we were talking about text blocking. Text blocking is figuring out on your poster format, which is 16 by 20 inches. Doesn't matter your resolution, because this is just sketching it out. But 16 by 20 inches as a rectangle, and it can be 20 by 16 inches if you want to go horizontal. You put your spot illustration in. You can put it high, you can put it low, you can put it filling everything, but then text blocking is figuring out what is the shape of the text with your image. And I want you to just sketch out 3 different options, right, for yourself, just to play with it, like thumbnailing for your logo design. So I have my 3 options here. This is option 1. So we're going to talk about the creative process, creative problem-solving workflow for your final project. And one thing you're going to have to do is get external eyes on your project, external opinions. That's why you have people in your group that you can get input from. But I don't have a group. I just have you as a class. So I'm going to ask you guys, which of these 3 approaches do you think is strongest? So this is option 1. This is option 2. This is option 3. So option 3 is the most organic of them. Kind of freewheeling, fills the space. It was my hand-done sketch responding to this kind of arrangement. Right? Then just doing digital sketching, I wanted to try to make them fight each other a little bit by having this be really circular and organic, but have the type feel a little bit more compressed. Right, where it's curving the opposite way than the illustration is. So you have expansion and compression. And then this option, which makes the type more dominant, and then balances it with these columns on the side. But I did like about this, it makes choices, right? It makes the always the biggest focus, and then it echoes the crown of the design with the W. So here we go. Option 1, raise your hand if you think this is the best of the 3. All right. Option 2, raise your hand if you think this is the best of the 3. Okay. And then option 3, raise your hand if you think this is the best of the 3. All right, so now it's between, because we had a tie, between this one. So I'm going to make this one now option 3. I want everyone to vote. Edgar, I want you to vote too, because you're doing type design. You're telling me which approach I should demo, right, and finish up. Option 3 or option 1. The text always changing. Okay, so raise your hand if you think option 3. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then option 1, raise your hand nice and high so I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so this is the winner. All right, thank you for that. Now, notice, remember I told you to sketch it 3 ways, even if they're not big differences, right? The difference between these 2 is pretty minimal. But this was the one that most of the class liked. All of them could be effective. But let's proceed with this one. So now that I have my text blocking sketch, I'm just going to take a simple screen grab of it. This is not a requirement, but it is really nice to have, right, for yourself. The only reason I don't make it a requirement for this assignment is sometimes students are scrambling for this assignment, and I try not to have more than 3 things required. So we're still going to have 3 things required for this assignment. It's just they start with your black type design. So these are the 3 requirements: black type design, a color variation of the black type design. You can think of it like a black logo type, the color variation of the logo type, and then the finished poster, which includes a spot illustration, a background, and a border. You don't see the border because the border is always going to be white, but you need a border in your design so they can be printed and then cut down in a way that can be controlled. All right, so now we continue. I've posted it in. I'm going to shrink it. And this reminds you, you can do text blocking, just sketching, but then it's really nice to actually see how it works on that exact format, 16 by 20. And it's okay to have like the wing overlapping the text. I think that could be nice. It makes the wing feel lighter. Okay, now what's the next step? The next step is to find a typeface, like with Stranger Things, to find a typeface that gets us close to what we want, and then modify it. So I link to this site. The skill I want you to all learn is how to modify existing text resources. Defont.com is like Pixabay for typefaces. Okay. How many have used Defont.com before? Couple. Good. So it's a good resource to introduce you to. It is different than Pixabay in that nothing here is totally free for you to use. But it is free for you to play with. And then for the most common thing is that they'll be free for personal use. Free for personal use, right? Why do they say that? That means if you mock it up and you like it, and then you're going to use it for your movie poster, like for Avatar 3, right? They want you to license it before you use it for commercial use. Does that make sense? But the law is kind of weird because it treats type design just like it treats copyright and image design. So all you have to do to transform it and make the type design yours is to transform each letter form enough so that it's your own unique type design. So in that way, you can get variations. These are the ones that were just uploaded yesterday, right? So these are the most recent. And some of them look great. Like this is a really cool one. I might open that in a new tab. And this is what I like to do. Put your text in. So always, all caps. And then changing, all caps. Submit. And then you can see what it would look like. And actually, I like that changing a lot. The always is not quite what I had in mind, right? It's not strong enough, but that changing's pretty nice. Now, I could download this. It's an OTF file. And if I was on my own machine, I could upload that into, on a Mac, it is your font book, right? OPF stands for Open Type File. So I open that, it will open with the font book. It would validate it, I could install it, and there it is. It's added. So you got to remember what it's called. It was a Moria, right? So on this computer, I have 409 typefaces, right? Remember, a typeface are these designs. And then fonts would be bold, italics, customizations to this. This is only in regular. So I have no font choices for this, only this typeface. But that means that I can go into Adobe Illustrator and I can open up. I'm going to go ahead and bring this boom, into my assignment 6 folder. You can have OTFs or TTF files. You don't have to pay for them, right? But from Defont, but you want to pay attention to the limitations on their use. And gosh, just since I opened it, a lot more have been added. So I can go to all the new ones. So people are adding to this all the time. Why are they adding to it? To advertise their own work. Oh, that one's beautiful. Definitely going to check that one out. But remember, these are all just kind of basic. Each letter is its own thing. So doing these this is not going to be what it looks like. This is customized. So always changing. You see, so it's a lot more basic here, but it shows that it's designed to play with kerning, to play with customization. But I don't like how thin it gets. You can also search. So these are just ones that have been uploaded in the last day, but I could search for Art Deco, for instance, typefaces. I could search for Art Nouveau, if I can spell it. I don't know why I'm completely blanking on how to spell Art Nouveau. There it is. That's why art history, studying art history always helps. So you can think of different stylistic ways. This is an incredibly classic kind of design for an Art Nouveau text. Now you'll notice those are pretty limited results, right? So if I look for poster, I'll see 3 pages worth. If you look for script, if you look for graffiti, you know, they have some suggestions on their homepage of DaFont of different things you could look for, like handwritten. And then they just go for pages and pages. 751 pages of these. And they're always uploaded by what was uploaded most recently. All of these were just uploaded yesterday. Actually, that's not true. They were downloaded this many times yesterday. So they're shown by their popularity. So designers use these all the time. Sans serif, that would be the non-decorative types. Modern. This is what Stranger Things modified, were these kind of modern typefaces. I like cool Vetica. All right. So you can also find ones that kind of match properties. So when I did kind of a spoof of My Little Pony, I was able to find a typeface that was pretty similar to My Little Pony's typeface through DaFont, but different enough. And then I can modify from there. Okay, here's the other thing though. Once you find something that's close, like this one actually, Day Poster Black. I'm going to put my text in there. Can even make it larger. This is what you're going to do next. So I'm going to take that because it has the bones of what I want, right? And I'm going to do a screen grab, Command-Shift-4 of it. Instead of downloading it, because you will be limited on the typefaces you can download, I'm not even going to deal with the type tools in Illustrator or in Photoshop. But once you download it as an OTF or TTF, you could. But the only advantage to having them as type files is you can do kind of Word document stuff with them. If you know exactly what type you're using, which we should for our posters, then we can screen grab it. And then the other one I liked, I shouldn't have closed everything, was this one, Amoria. Search for that, put in my text, and I just want changing for, actually no, I'll do both of them. Let's see. Yeah, the always, it's too thin, but the changing I liked. And I'm going to do a screen grab of that, Command-Shift-4. Remember, this is low resolution, but we're going to turn these into vectors that we can modify. But before I do that, I've just taken 2 screen grabs. I'm going to move those screen grabs from my desktop